and just record that. Dennis, thank you very, very much for joining us. So Dennis, co-founder of crypto tax firm Accointing. Very, very grateful to have you here and to answer all of people's questions before they even have a chance to ask them.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks a lot for the invite. I would just quickly start with introducing Accointing and why we started it. For that, let me just share my screen. That makes it a little bit easier. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So we started Accointing 2.5 years ago because we had to keep track of all the crypto investments we did in the years before that. We started investing in crypto in 2014. And after that, obviously went through all the different exchanges that are out there. Then was the ICO hype. There were like all the decentralized exchanges that now pop up. All the different exchanges that sometime in the past were still there. Some of them are gone already. So there was a lot of different movements. You had wallets on the Ledger, on Trezor, and other private wallets that you needed to keep track of. And so we decided to build a backend solution for ourselves. And that was like there for around about 6 months. And after that, we decided to actually build a front end part for that. And this was middle and end of 2018 when we started this. And out of that, we created Accointing, which is a tracking and tax software for multiple countries. So we allow you to import your entire data set in Accointing. You can connect all the exchanges in here. You will see a dashboard with different with all your coins with different performance metrics. You'll have a portfolio allocation chart, and you see where you hold your different coins on which exchanges and wallets. You can connect everything in here. Let me actually connect it in this version just to show you how it works. So if you have an Ethereum address, or if you have a Binance account, you can just connect it with one click. We source all the historical transactions and trades, import it to Accointing, and bring it all together in all the wallets and exchanges here. If you want to connect Binance, you can do that with an API key. Coinbase, all the major exchanges are supported. Same with all the major blockchains. So if you have an ERC20 token, just import the Ethereum wallet, and we keep track of the entire money flow in our system. And that helps you to keep track of all the movements you've done, to keep track of all the trades you have done in different exchanges and wallets. And with that, you can then, in the end, create a tax report for your specific country. And we support 5 countries at the moment. We have obviously the UK, we have Switzerland, Germany, the US, and Austria. So we have the major calculation methods supported, which is like in the UK, we have the HMRC pooling with the 30-day rule and the day rule. I guess that's going to be a question. We have FIFO and LIFO. We have multiple and single depot, all the different versions that are out there. And then once you have your country settings and you have everything connected with Accointing, you have all the exchanges imported and the wallets, you can easily create a tax report by just entering the correct year. And once this is calculated, you can file a standard tax report for your own needs, or you can do that also for your CPA, or if you want to file with an online tool. There's different output formats available. And once you create that report, you will see something like this. So you will have an overview of all the different trades you have done. You will have a list of all the incoming transactions, is like if that's mining or staking, or if that's some margin trades you have. You will see all the number of disposals, number of disposal proceeds, and in the end, the net capital gains and losses with the correct fields that you need to use for like in the capital gains form from the HMRC. You have the entire record of every single token that you disposed. So that just helps you to keep a record of the entire movements you've done. That means that doesn't only allow you to create a tax report at the end of the year, that also allows you to kind of prove where you got the funds from. So you can use that as a proof of ownership or like some sort of AML report. And that's just a really quick overview about accounting. I think it's probably the best if we just answer questions directly, because I think like as a quick overview of what we offer, that's pretty much it.
Sure. Do you want me to let people sort of ask their questions now as they arise, Dennis?
Yeah, I think that would be
Okay, sure.
that would be good.
We've got one hand up from Nevea. I've allowed you to talk there. Might take a while. Maybe we can get back to that in this. Oh, we've got one question from Tiago. How far back does it go, and what happens if you don't support a few exchanges in the middle?
So for all the exchanges that we support, we import the entire history. There's a few exchanges that don't allow us to get the entire history, but most of them then at least support it through an email to their support. But 99% of the exchanges that we have allow a full import. If there's an exchange that we don't support, let's say there's a ABC D exchange, and we don't support that, you can use our manual uploads. We have either a form where you can just import all the trades and transfers manually, or you use our template that allows you to import the trades into an Excel file and then upload this Excel file to Accointing. So that's an intermediate solution. If there are a few exchanges that we don't support, but the community really wants, we obviously integrate them. So there's a separate forum that we have, and you can just request an exchange, and there's some voting mechanism there where when a lot of like once a month or once every 2 weeks we integrate another exchange. So if there's enough people voting for it, we will definitely integrate it.
Cool, no, thank you. Also from Tiago, how about P2P and peer-to-peer, things like sites like Local Bitcoins, for example?
So the problem with that is if you have the transaction history, obviously we can integrate that. If you have the transactions that go into your wallet, let's say you have bought some Bitcoin and you send it to your Ledger wallet and import the XPub, which is the master public key for Bitcoin, we will automatically read that. But there's no API connection or anything to a local Bitcoin. So you wouldn't have to classify that as an ad funds or like a bot transaction, but that's possible. Once you have the transaction inside of Accointing, either through the manual process or through the XPub connection with the blockchain, that works.
Perfect, thank you. One other question, does it support other blockchains other than Ethereum, such as Binance Chain and Binance Smart Chain?
Yes. We have Tezos, we have Binance Chain, we have EOS, we have 70 exchanges and 60 exchanges with an API connection or a specific CSV from the exchange, and 10 blockchains supported at the moment. So we have Polkadot. I don't have them all in my head, but we have the major ones supported. If there's a big blockchain missing, just write us a mail and we will integrate it.
Okay, thank you. We've just got a hand raised from Michael Parsons, so we'll get to you. I've just allowed you to talk, Michael. If you want to ask.
Hi all.
Hey.
Hi Dennis. Here's my question. I'm a qualified accountant. I did tax in my earlier years. The question I have is, I like the name, by the way. I thought it was a misspelling, but Accointing is a cool name. So, so the question I have is, when you're designing the software, I take it you're not a tax expert yourself. So who do you, when you design software, you have to input the various parameters to prepare the tax returns. So who supplies those parameters, or is it your interpretation of what HMRC says or the law or whatever? That's my question, really.
Yeah. So what we do is we have a bigger partnership with Vinheller, which is the biggest tax firm for cryptocurrencies in Germany. And they have an international network that we can use if we have some specific questions. We are looking, or we are currently in the process of having another local partner specifically for the US and for Austria. But we also are looking for more and more connections in the UK. So if that would be something interesting for you, we should definitely hop on another call and discuss that further.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Appreciate that. Thank you.
I'll be sending out Dennis's contact details afterwards, Michael, so you'll be able to connect that way quite easily.
Okay, thanks. All right. Okay.
Inundated with questions for you guys, Dennis and Rodrigo. Gyro is asking, is your platform actually implemented on a DLT blockchain network? And if so, which one?
So you mean if it runs on a blockchain system? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It runs on AWS. It's not like our software is not a decentralized system or anything like that. We aggregate all kinds of information from the outside. And I guess the next question that comes out of that is probably data security. So whenever you import an API key, we only allow read access API keys. They are fully encrypted with our database, but also with the user's password. So once you integrate an API connection to Accointing, you cannot export it again. There's some background noise. Do you hear that?
There is. I'm just trying to see. Disable talk. It might be Michael. I think everyone now should be.
Yeah. So what we do is we encrypt all the API keys that we get from the users. We cannot decrypt them anymore without like the system itself. So our developers don't have access to that. The user himself doesn't have access to that anymore. The only thing he still has access to is the XPub, the public address. But you cannot do anything with that in the end. It's also not connected with any sort of KYC. So the user can just use, if he wants to, he can use a fake email address in Accointing. So it's not connected to any sort of personal information. That means there's no risk in getting in losing that data to some sort of government or whatever, because we don't even have the data from the users. So yeah, no one can actually force us to do that. Plus we are in Switzerland, which helps.
Well, no, thank you. And oh gosh, lots and lots of questions through. Could you give from Vicky, please? Can you give reports on what tax liability would be if coins were traded into fiat? For example, if somebody has not made a trade or disposal and is only holding coins, what the tax risk would be if the coins were sold?
So if you sell coins from crypto to crypto, it's still a taxable event, if that answers the question.
Thank you. Matt is asking, do you track liquidity mining and yield farming, such as Yearn vaults, staking Uniswap pool tokens, etc.? So yeah, a lot of the
so yeah, we do track decentralized exchanges and liquidity farming. The problem with liquidity farming, for example, if you take the YAM token, is that you have some sort of a rebalancing mechanism, which is not fully which is not supported by Accointing yet. And the problem is that they don't write a transaction into the blockchain for that. At least the last time we looked into that, that was not the case. So what happens in those kind of tokens is that they rebase the numbers of tokens you hold every day or every second day or whenever the price changes, and that sort of transaction is not covered by Accointing. What we cover though is all the decentralized trades you can do on Uniswap, on these other platforms. We also cover staking automatically. And liquidity mining in the sense is like when you send those tokens to a liquidity pool, we also track that. So you can have that within Accointing, but like those rebalancing tokens, you would have to do a manual sorting to actually get the new amount of coins every second day.
Cool, thank you. Vicky, I think has raised her hand, so I'll just allow her to speak. I don't think that quite answered her question. So, Vicky.
Hello. Sorry. It was a question really. So basically, I work with people that are going through divorce and things like that. So, and one of the things I specialize in is people that have cryptographic assets as part of that process. So the question was really, obviously the software that you're showing us today, which looks amazing by the way, is very much looking at, as an individual, what will my tax liability be at the end of this financial year based on what I've been doing with my assets over the course of this year. But one of the things that we have to look at as part of our work is, if we're looking at disposing of assets to liquidate them to split between a divorcing couple, for example, one of the things we have to look at is what is the tax implication if we liquidate those assets as part of that settlement. So with the software you're showing us, it's showing, based on what I've done with my coins over this year, this is the tax I'm going to have to pay. But do you have sort of predictive reports of, this is what you own, if you were to sell all of this now, this is what you would have to pay in tax?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we do have that for countries like Germany and the US, because it's a little bit of a different system. They use, there's a difference between long-term and short-term holdings. And we call it holding period, and some other people might call it as like, or know it as tax loss harvesting. So you can use that, you can do that with those kind of tools. We are working on an integration for that for the UK. What you can do in the meantime is you can just create a sort of fake transaction in the full data set. So let's say you have 1 Bitcoin, you just create a withdrawal of that Bitcoin today, and you will see the tax implications in the tax report. That is obviously a little bit of manual work, but that kind of like is a workaround for now until we have that overview for the UK.
Okay, so if you were saying, oh, okay, well, I'm selling this Bitcoin, but what happens if you've accrued that Bitcoin over, say, 2 years worth of mining, where you're receiving a portion of that Bitcoin over that period of time? If you were then to dispose of that single Bitcoin, would the software assign a different acquirement value to each section of the coin you've acquired through mining? How does it know the initial acquired value in order to calculate the capital gains tax?
So every time you get a mining deposit, it creates a new value in the pool, and with the value of the receiving date. So if the Bitcoin price was 10,000, you received 1 Bitcoin, you would add 10,000 allowable costs to the pool.
Okay, so if you were mining when it was worth $100 a coin, you're receiving it at that value as opposed to the value it's worth now.
Exactly, and you would see, like, and on average, you would then see the cost basis or allowable costs for the Bitcoins you dispose.
Okay.
That obviously then depends on when you sold it. If you sold it like within the 30 days pool, or after that, so you use the general pool, that really depends then on the time frame.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very helpful.
Thank you. Misha is asking, we've got loads of questions being thrown at you, so keep you guys busy. Misha is asking, you've bought a crypto, for example, 3 years ago, and it's currently going up from what you paid, but if you don't plan to sell, is there any obligation to pay tax in this tax year? And at the point of selling some, for example, into USDC, a stable coin, what tax would apply to any gains? And that's regarding someone that's UK based.
So you would still have to pay taxes on the event when you when you sell it into a stable coin. It's not that you don't, like, a stable coin is just a cryptocurrency as any other coin as well. So you would just sell it into another cryptocurrency. It's the same thing as if you would sell it into fiat. So you still pay taxes on that.
Cool, thank you. Someone's asking, can you integrate directly into individual blockchain wallets, such as Elrond wallet or Cardano or any of the crypto wallets?
Yes, we do have Cardano supported. We do not have Elrond at the moment, but we have Cardano, EOS, Tezos, all sorts of Nano, Dash, Digibyte. Like, there's multiple blockchains that we support.
Okay.
Litecoin. If you need more blockchain supported, just quickly write us a message and we can take a look at it.
Okay, because I know from sending out the email about this live chat, a few companies have reached forward saying that they have various different crypto wallets or sort of crypto solutions that they'd be interested in potentially integrating your system into. Is that quite an easy setup for such companies?
Yes, we do also have a few projects that use Accointing in order to create their tax reports. And so they just track every single wallet they have with Accointing and import all the transactions. So you can just use you can use the software to classify every single transfer that goes out or comes in. So if you have, I don't know, if you use your wallet to receive some sort of income and then you use it to pay bills, you can just classify that as a payment and mark and add the comments to whatever you use that those bitcoins for, or Ethereum or any other coins. And so in the report, you will have a full list of all the transactions that you used for payments. So you can just use Accointing also for an accounting software for those kinds of purposes.
Cool, thank you. Someone's asking if you've got special functionality for airdrops and staking, and apparently airdrops are considered income rather than capital gains in the UK. Airdrops being the practice when companies were giving out coins for free.
Yeah, so when you receive an airdrop, we assign the value of the receiving date again to that airdrop, and we also sum it up in the report as a separate section and in the income section. So you will see all the different deposits you had. Let's say you got an airdrop of EOS DUC back in the day, or any other coin. You can mark it as an airdrop token, as an income, and it will get all summed up in the tax report for the UK with the receiving date and with the value at the receiving date. So you can calculate your income, or you can just use that for your income section.
Thank you. Adam has asked if you've got, if you could give a quick explanation of how UK share pool method works versus FIFO or LIFO or other methods. Now, I've got to confess, I don't understand what he's talking about. So perhaps if for the rest of us, you can give a quick explanation of what that means.
Of course. So there's two different versions of how you can calculate crypto assets. Let's say you buy, let's start with the FIFO or first in, first out calculation method. That means you buy one Bitcoin beginning of January for 10,000 euros or pounds, and then you buy a second one end of January for another, like for 15,000 pounds. And then in March or in July, you sell one Bitcoin again. So with first in, first out, you would use the oldest coin on that specific exchange that you hold there in order to create the disposal and to calculate your gains. So let's say you sell the Bitcoin in June for 20,000 pounds. You would create with FIFO, you would create a gain of 10,000 pounds because you bought it for 10, you sell it for 20,000. So the gain is 10,000. If you sell it through LIFO, which is last in, first out, you would sell the one you bought end of January for 15,000. That would create a gain of 5,000 pounds. And if you would use pooling, the standard pooling, you sum those two Bitcoin you bought up, and you would have an average cost of 12,500 pounds, and you would create a gain of 7,500 pounds on that one Bitcoin sell in June. If you use the shared pool method, or like the 30-day rule or the day rule in the UK, that's also integrated in here, you would, for example, that rule means that if you sell a coin today and you buy the same coin back at the same day, it would always use this cost basis, like to define the gains. So it would not go back into the bigger pool and use the old ones. It would use the one from the same day. Or if you sell a crypto today and you buy it back within the next 30 days, it would use the cost basis of this coin that you bought back, or that you will buy back in, like, let's say 10 days. It uses the cost basis of that coin to actually define the gains of that trade. So that's just a little bit of it's some sort of a regulation that makes it not that easy to like wash to wash trade, because in FIFO you could in theory wash trade your Bitcoin. Let's say you bought it for 20,000 pounds and they're worth 10,000 end of the year, so you quickly sell them and you create a loss that you can use to subtract from your other gains. That is not that easy in the UK, because you have the 30 days where you can't really buy them back in order to create that loss, because you don't know what happens with the price. So it's a little bit more tricky. On the other hand, it could also be a little bit more fair, because you don't touch your cheap coins from the past. You can actually like you can do a better like day trading in a way. But yeah, we can go deeper into that, because there's also like in FIFO and LIFO, you have multiple depot calculations and single depot calculations, but I guess that's a little bit too far away from the UK. So if there's some sort of interest in those calculations, we can also discuss that in a separate meeting, or just write me and I can explain that.
Cool, thank you. Matt's asking, how is ETH used for gas fees? And if ETH is used in a trade, is it used in the cost basis when talking about?
Yes, so what we do is, for Ethereum used in a trade, we use that in the cost basis and to calculate the gains. If it's used as a gas, we can't, because it, like, let's say you send Ethereum from one wallet to your exchange, there's no trade in between. So there's a fee, and we sum up those fees also in a separate row in the tax report. So you can just have a summary of all the transaction fees and try to make that try to reduce the taxes with that. But that's something you would have to do with your accountant.
Cool, thanks. Tiago is asking, how about borrowing from collateralized lenders such as Nexo or Aave or Compound?
Yeah, we have that supported. So if you integrate, we currently work on an integration for Nexo trades. So that is actually one, that's the next exchange or next provider that we're going to support. And you can then just use the CSV file from them and export it to Accointing, and you will have a full summary of that.
Cool, thanks. From Gyro, if you select a transaction, can one view the historical transaction execution on the DLT blockchain network it was executed on?
Yeah, so if you go into the full data set, and I guess that's what he means. If you want to see where this transaction got transferred into and where it came from, and you want to explore it, we have a link to a specific explorer, and you can go deeper into that if you want to.
Cool. Thank you. So for Tiago, how about when you move from one jurisdiction to another? When do gains start to be computed for the new jurisdiction, and what happens to appreciation of coins you bought in another country but never touched?
So that's more a tax-specific question that we should definitely answer with a CPA,
okay.
Because that really depends where you move to, where you come from. That's not a thing that I can just answer in one.
That's a fair answer.
Also not.
That's a fair answer. From Adam, in the UK model, is cost tracking per wallet or across your whole portfolio?
It's in the UK, in our system, across your entire portfolio.
Cool, thank you. Bruce is asking if you've received feedback on your product directly from national tax authorities such as HMRC or national accounting bodies such as ACCA or the ICAEW.
So from HMRC, we didn't. We were never in contact with them, but that would actually be really interesting to go deeper into that together with them. We are, like I said, we are working with the German tax law and tax firm, and they are currently creating a certification of Accointing. So they're just gonna go deeper into the calculation method, or they're currently working on that and certifying our system. So we would be, I guess, the first tool that has certification of the classifications and calculation methods used in the product. We were the only government we were in direct contact with, and we looked into Accointing itself was with the Swiss government. It's just, and they're really open for that. If you go into any other countries, it's actually super hard to find someone that knows much about crypto. So it's not like, there will definitely be more contact, but it's not that easy to find a person that actually knows much about it. So.
No, sure, thank you. From Stephen, they run ATMs, they run Bitcoin ATMs in the UK, and they run on a hot wallet. What about when they've bought Bitcoin, for example, for the ATMs that they run, and the price drops so that they have to sell at a loss? Does your system cope with that?
Yes. So if you bought Bitcoin and, like, let's say for 20,000 pounds, it drops to 15, we calculate for that, and you will see it in the summary report of Accointing. You will just have the gain or loss in here. So this one here would created a loss. So you would just see when you sold it, what sort of classification you use, the proceeds, the allowable costs for that, and that's all summed up per asset and per year, or like per tax year from April to April.
Thank you. Can I just put in a plea, please, to anyone asking questions, anyone who joined late, please either do raise your hand or post them in the Q&A function rather than the chat. It makes it infinitely easier to cope with and keep on top with. So that would make my life an awful lot easier. Thank you. One question from Jiten. How does this compare to other platforms such as Coinly or CoinTracker, presumably your competitors there?
Yeah. I guess the only big difference here is that we have a really country-specific report for all countries we support. I'm not 100% sure what the status is on their platform in terms of classifications and how they use different classifications in different jurisdictions, because that's completely different. So there's complete different interpretation of how you tax income based on airdrops or payments in the different countries. We have a specific set of classifications and rules for the classifications for each country. So that's why we're running into like this certification phase now, where we actually want to prove that our system does that perfectly, because we can, like, I mean, in the end, we can just claim that we do that, but we need to somehow prove that. So that's why we are working on that and want to release that soon, just to make sure that everyone understands why this tax report that we offer is actually perfect for each country, and not only like a general export file that uses the same logic for the classifications in each country.
Thank you so much. I know we've touched on the transaction fees before. Are they automatically computed out as costs or losses, especially when there's huge Ethereum congestion charges, for example?
No, they are just summed up as a fee overview for Ethereum and for the different transfers you did.
Mm-hmm. Cool, thanks. From Nick, your site supports lots of different types of losses, for example, interest paid, lost, crypto that's been lost, fees, payments, for example. Are all of those types of loss treated equally as far as tax is concerned?
Yeah, so the losses are also summed up in the report, and you will have an overview of all the different losses ready for your tax accountant in the end, if you want to make use of those losses. You will also see an entire overview of how the losses are treated in here. Here. So we can share the tax guide for the UK with everyone, and you can just read about the different calculation methods, how the different classifications work. And this is officially based on the rules from the HMRC.
One question for me related to that, I've been approached by two separate people today, actually, who were both victim of different scams related to crypto. One was a crypto scam and so forth. Is there any way it can sort of take that into account? In their cases, they obviously lost all of their money, sadly, and are seeing what they can do. But can that be taken into account when they're not dealing with what we would maybe consider legitimate cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but where it really was sort of scam projects unbeknownst to them?
Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely try that. That is something I would recommend to do with a tax accountant in the UK, just to make sure that this is completely correct. You will get the entire overview of how much money you lost and how big the allowable costs were in that specific case from us. But in like to go into the details for every single case, I would just prefer, like I would just recommend to consult with an accountant in the UK. We can recommend different accountants. Just reach out to us, and we can redirect you to specific ones. Because like there's different scenarios. You can lose your private key. You can have someone steals them. You can lose them in some sort of scam. There's all sorts of ways that can work out. That's why we don't want to give out a clear, like, okay, use this loss to do that, because there's so many different scenarios that like we provide the basics for that, and you have the entire overview of all the things you lost considered with the correct cost basis and everything.
Okay, thank
So
you.
that's just the basis then for that.
Vicky is asking, related to that, obviously a lot of people have been victims of various hacks, for example, the hack that affected the Mt. Gox exchange. Can that loss be calculated as a loss even if the coins may come back one day through existing bankruptcy proceedings? Because the people who lost their coins are hopeful, of course, that they'll get their Bitcoin back, but there's no certainty of that.
That's, I don't really, I can't really give an answer to that, because like you said, it might be that they come back, might be that they don't come back. That's why I would definitely go like talk to an accountant about this scenario. Like I first of all, I'm not a CPA, so I'm not allowed to give an answer for that. And second, I also don't know the specifics for those kind of losses.
Okay. Because it's not a confirmed loss, as it were.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing as if like some airdrops might have no price. So I mean, there's some say they have a price, others say they don't have a price. There could be different interpretations. That's why it should be like you should really look into the specific case.
Cool, thank you. From Jared, do you integrate directly with any of the online accounting packages such as Zero, ZERO?
That's a accounting software, like to file online.
Yeah.
We currently only integrate with one software, but what's the name again of that one?
It was spelled XERO.
No, we don't.
No. Okay.
We currently don't integrate with that one. You can send me. Maybe it would be great to actually have that software in our system. So just send me a link and I can take a closer look. We currently integrate with Go Simple Tax. If that's something interesting for you. But yeah, what you can probably always do with the online tools, you can just use the same outputs that you will.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you probably can use here, like those fields are pretty much the same for all the reports you have to do. So you can, in most softwares, I would assume you can just use the numbers from those fields and input that manually.
Cool, thank you. From Matt, for new protocols, ERC20 tokens, how is the price calculated? Does it require the token to be on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, for example? And how much liquidity is required, obviously, for some of the smaller cap, more volatile?
Yeah, so we don't care about any liquidity. If there's a price on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, we have that price. So
do you have a preference as to which one you use, or how do you work that?
So we use CoinMarketCap just because it's the oldest one in the market and it has the most, like the best history so far. So we're using CoinMarketCap data as our standard. Once they list a coin, we have it. If you trade a coin, let's say you trade a coin on an exchange and it's not listed yet on CoinMarketCap, we still assign the correct allowable costs to it. When you sell that, at the time where it doesn't have a price, it would be sold as a zero price disposal. So what you could do is go into the records, because that's why all the disposals are summed up per asset. So you can just go to that specific column and add the price you want, and you just have to argue why you would add that specific price for the proceeds. But yeah, like what we do is we always assign the cost basis from the sell side to the specific asset you buy. So there it doesn't matter if you have the price or not, but if you sell it, we need to have a price from on our official price source, which is CoinMarketCap.
Cool, thank you. From Ali, that index tokens appear to be emerging as a basket of multiple tokens which are internally traded by the index creator. If he were to buy one of those, would his tax implications simply be from when he bought the index token and sold it, rather than the internal trades that have been made within the basket?
So let's say you buy a token, an index on token sets. We treat that as the token set, like we treat the token set token itself as a standard cryptocurrency token. So we only track the price changes of this token set. We do not go into the specific layout of the index itself. If it's on an exchange, for example, Bitpanda, they offer you to trade or to buy indexes, and they give us the information of what is in that index. And it's not an index token, it's just an index where they have multiple tokens inside, and they do some sort of allocation, rebasing or rebalancing. Then we track it for each individual asset, and that's like always, there would be always a trade for the reallocation. On token sets, like I said, it would just be one token. You buy it, you hold it, and that's it. That's how the system currently interprets it.
Cool, no, thank you. From Adam, is there anything you can share about your support SLAs? For example, ticket response time, how big your dev support help desk teams are, and how you're scaling them up to keep pace with your growing customer base?
So honestly, until beginning of December last year, we had a response time in our live chat of 1.5 minutes maximum. In our email support, it was maximum half a day. That now increased to 1 day in the email on average. Sometimes it's 1.5 days, because it's just, there's so many people now asking specific questions about how specific things are treated, or if something is not clear, how it works in accounting. So we get hundreds of support messages every day. We are scaling that up, but that obviously has a slight delay, because it's not like, to give a concrete answer, it's not that easy to just add someone else in support. We need to really educate and teach our support to actually give concrete answers. Otherwise, it doesn't help. So it's work in progress, but there's definitely a delay at the moment compared to 2 months ago.
Cool. No, thank you. From Misha, what security do you employ? I know we've touched on your data security, but what security do you employ on client data, and how is this managed with API regarding exchanges?
Yeah. So users' data, in general, we don't have any user data because we don't require that. If we have user data in sort like when you just give us the email address and you sign up with Google and we see the name, that is encrypted in our database. We also encrypt the API keys with a database encryption plus the user's password. So that's why you can also never export your API keys again. So once you entered the API keys into the system, they get fully encrypted and you can't get them back. So if you want, you need to, like, if you want a new API key, you would have to create a second one on the exchange.
Oh, okay, thank you. From Nick, do you have any plans to support high volume traders who have possibly made millions of transactions?
We do have that in our roadmap, although the main focus at the moment is horizontal scaling and not deep scaling. So we support officially we support trades up to our accounts up to 50,000 transactions at the moment, and we limit everything above that. That is going to change over the next months, and we're going to raise the limit. But at the moment, it's mostly about horizontal scaling and having a fast platform for everyone below 50,000 trades.
Cool, thank you. From Gyro, interesting, slightly unrelated question, but they're trying to implement, so Gyro works for Hedera Hashgraph as big CTO. They're trying to implement an EV, so electric vehicle charge point tax system, to replace petrol and diesel taxes as the transition takes place. as a pay-as-you-go approach rather than enforcing general encompassing road taxes. Do you have any ideas on how that could possibly work?
In terms of keeping track of payments and like using an accounting system for that, or in terms
for example,
of,
it's maybe a system similar to yours, but for
yeah, definitely. You can just import all the wallets, XPubs, and you will automatically keep track of all the different transactions, because you would probably have a new address for every single user that pays for the electricity, I guess. So you just use the XPub imported to Accointing, and will see all the transaction histories. If you want to know more about, like, if you want to chat about the technology behind that and how to use blockchains for that, also please reach out to me, because I worked with another company 3 years ago where we looked deeper into that and how we want to, how they could use blockchain technology for that sort of system.
Cool, thank you. I'm sure you and Gyro can connect afterwards and have a few conversations on the sounds of it. From Misha, if somebody sets up a relationship with you and then for some reason in the future decides to delink with yourselves, so to end that relationship, how would that person then handle the API relationship regarding the exchange? Is that what you meant regarding setting up new API keys?
So yeah, if you like, let's say what I meant with setting up new API keys, if you import your API keys into Accointing, you can never export them again. The only thing you can do is you can delete them, but then they're just gone. What if you want to just get fully disconnected from Accointing, you can delete the entire account and re-delete the entire data, including API keys and everything else, all the history, all the balance, everything gets deleted. And if you want to get a full history recovery part of Accointing's data in here, you just export a full list in an Excel file, and you will have all your trades exported as a backup file. That only includes trades and transactions. It won't include any sort of API keys or anything like that. So if you disconnect from Accointing, export this file, delete all the exchange connections, and if you want to then reconnect again, you can upload this file into Accointing. You will have all the transactions in Accointing, but all as manual wallets. So the cool thing about adding an API key or a public address, you can just refresh them, and you refresh them every day automatically. But you can also just manually refresh those connections, and you get the newest transactions. Okay, so you will always be up to date.
For Tiago's asking, are you legally obliged to disclose or keep any financial personal data after deletion?
No, we don't even have any personal data of the users when they sign up to Accointing. We do not offer any sort of trading. So we are not in that sort of, like, we don't have that sort of KYC problem. For our users, we only keep track of data. So we don't need any personal information or anything like that. And we will definitely delete all of it when you close your account.
Cool, thank you. From Gyro again, HMRC, Companies House, Eurofiling, and CoRep and FinRep, for example, all use the online business reporting language XBRL for company filing. Is your system compatible with that type of filing?
I'm not familiar with that, so we can go deeper into that, I guess, also in a private chat. But we currently, like, the only thing we have as export files is a PDF of Excel files, CSV files with all the trades and everything. But we do not have any sort of other export files, if that's the question.
Cool, no, thank you. And one last question for you. Somebody says that what you're discussing is tax reporting software. Do you also offer tax planning or tax structuring service within the software or through consulting?
So we do not offer that sort of consulting at the moment, but we are currently working on integrating some sort of tax planning. We have that for other countries. I said that before. We have that for Germany and for the US, but currently not for the UK yet. But we are working on an integration for that. So you will have a tool that allows you to kind of plan what sort of taxable gains you would create when you sell Bitcoin in, let's say, 2 months, with the data you currently have, and you can then adjust the price that you expect to be in, like
No.
for Bitcoin, Ethereum, or
Great,
whatever.
thank you.
So that's work in progress. But that's not gonna be ready now for this tax season, I guess. But for the next tax year, it's gonna be ready.
Cool, thanks. And how are you prioritizing feature requests and bug reports and other submissions to accointing.canny.io versus requests for support via other channels?
Yeah, so we currently have accointing.canny.io to keep track of all sorts of feature requests, exchanges requests. We are currently changing that into a different system that is a little bit more flexible and offers a few more functionalities, but we will announce that in the next 2-3 weeks. At the moment, we use Canny for that, and everyone can upload a feature, and we're just going to take the highest voting feature and integrate that next.
Cool, thank you. I know we've thrown a lot of questions at you there. I don't think I've ever had so many questions early on in a live chat, and we didn't even let you finish. So Dennis will probably let you have a few more minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any questions that we can't answer now, just reach out to us in our support and to me, and we can, or we just get on another live session maybe next week, and we can answer the other questions.
Sure, no, thank you. Accointing, just for everyone's attention, if anyone is interested to register with Accointing, they've given Crypto Carry Club a discount code to pass on to any of you. And I got the code right now, I'm afraid, but I will email that out to everybody, the code, so everyone can get a discount for signing up thanks to Accointing. So I'll get that emailed out to all of you. I don't know, Dennis or Rodrigo, have you got any other quick points to?
Yeah, I
Tiago,
mean,
pleasure, Tiago.
I guess important to know is that you can just sign up to Accointing as a free package. You can import all the transactions for free. I guess that's a little bit confusing on our pricing model at the moment, because people think that you have to pay even to import transactions. That is not the case. You can just create a free account, try it out, try if all the exchange connections work and wallet connections. And then if you're happy with it and you need a tax report, you can upgrade to get one, or if you only want to use it for tracking, just use it for that. You can also use our mobile app that is connected with your online Accointing account. So once you have everything set up in here, you can just download our mobile app and log into your account. You will see your entire portfolio there as well. You have some nice features in the mobile app, and you can also keep track of everything. You can also add stuff, exchanges and wallets in the mobile app if you want to, or manual transactions. But I feel it's just more convenient to do that on desktop. So.
Cool, no, thank you. I think Rodrigo is saying that the discount code is Crypto Curry, but I'll just double check that, and people will get a 20% discount for using it of any paid services. So I'll just double check that with the Accointing guys, and we'll email that out to everyone in final confirmation what your discount code is. Misha is asking that they're only just been looking at completing returns as only just started earning, but they were under the impression that gains were only payable when switching back to fiat. So is it possible to have a report done even for previous years to determine what, if any, gains have been made, as only they've been recently made aware that transactions are a taxable event?
Yeah, you can create as many reports as you want for all the past years as well. So our license works in a way that you just pay for a 1-year license, but you have access to every single report in the past. So it's not only the current tax year or the last tax year, it's like the entire history of the tax years. Just print out a report.
Cool, thank you. And Adam is asking, do you have any ideas when 2FA will be implemented? So
yeah, that is a big feature request as well. We are working on a few other priorities at the moment, which is mainly scaling. And we will definitely integrate that as the next feature. Exchange features are in a separate bucket of our development planning, so that's why it could be that other exchange integrations get done before we integrate 2FA. That doesn't mean that 2FA is not on our priority list. It's just a different section in our development team that is going to work on that. and they're currently working on a few other features. So that's why this is the next big feature for data security in terms of like login informations. And that's why this is definitely going to happen in the next months.
Cool, thank you. Nick's asking if you'll be adding an API.
Maybe if enough people ask for that, and we like,
so if we
like,
have more of these webinars, then enough people will ask.
So an API connection is definitely interesting. At the moment, there's just other priorities that we are working on, and an API connection is not that high on
Nick
that list.
saying, please add an API.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can definitely talk about that. It would be great to just have an example of what he would need from the API and how the data structure should look like, just to have that like as a reference for us. Because we didn't do any sort of surveys or user questioning of who would use an API connection to Accointing and what they would use it for. So that would be actually really interesting.
Well, I'll follow up with your an email to everyone with the cryptocurry discount code and the 20% discount that everyone can get from you guys. So thank you for that, and with both your and Rodrigo's contact details. So I'm sure you'll have lots of people emailing you, maybe lots of questions. Again, a few comments. So Tiago and a few people saying thank you very, very much for your time and all of your help, and lots of people saying that it all looks very good and that will. Dan commented that it will save him days of time, so that's probably a good thing.
Just quickly, sorry, I was muted and I couldn't talk, but and like yeah, it's a little bit late, but they can also add us in Telegram, social media. We're in Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there. We also have a YouTube channel, and if in Telegram we actually like focus more on like the whole feedback, so they can join us there. In the chat, you can also see a lot of useful links. I saw a lot of people asking about the different types of classification, so we have some content there. We also have the crypto tax guide for the UK in case you guys are interested. But yeah, thank you so much, Erica, for this. We will be sending the referral link with a discount code, so you guys can sign up and get your package with a discount. And also one of the attendees was asking like, what's the difference between us and like our competitors? I guess the main difference would be like we're the only like all-in-one platform. So with us, you actually get a crypto tracker. Like the app is completely free. You get to import, as Dennis said, all the transactions that you want in order to track your transactions. And we only charge for the tax reporting, right? Which for the tax package. And I would say like that's kind of the main difference. Like you can access to your portfolio from your app, check out your transactions, and so on and so forth. So yeah, and I guess accuracy is also one of the biggest added values from Accointing. But I guess that's up for discussion and for you guys to try it out.
Well, thank you. And just to confirm, there's a discount code. You said that's cryptocurry, is that right? Or shall we confirm that and get that to everyone later?
I guess via email, it's easier for everyone just to copy paste it.
That's fine. Rodrigo will confirm the exact discount code that will get you a 20% discount, and we'll get that emailed out to you tonight. And this has been recorded also, so if anyone wants to rewatch, and we'll share Dennis's and Rodrigo's contact details for anybody who has more questions or wants to follow up. And I believe we'll be doing some more of these sort of live chats on some different themes, given how many questions there have been for both of the ones that we have done now with Accointing. So Dennis, thank you so very much for your time. That's been incredible. I don't think I've ever seen so many questions come flying in so quickly. So really well done, and really kind of you to answer so patiently to all of those, and to know the answers to all of those. And Rodrigo, thanks for jumping in as well with some points. So really grateful, guys. And thank you everyone for joining and for all of your many questions and kind words and comments. So lots of people have been saying how helpful that was. So thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too. Take care. Bye.